And we're back, and Haley's got a real winner of a topic picked for everybody.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. No.
Do you like fall?
What?
Do you like fall?
I do. I love fall, and I think this is a great topic. I'm just making a joke. But it's just how do you lead in and tell everybody you're going to talk about pumpkins? So I'm trying to come up
fall. We're decorating for fall. Everyone's decorating for fall this weekend. I guarantee people are headed out to get a pumpkin or to get some mums to put on the front porch and get all festive into the season.
All right. I'm not. I'm not into the whole decorating thing for holidays and all of that. Well, for fall, for
Christmas?
I decorate inside a little.
Okay.
I don't like to bite off all this extra work, right? I'm one of those people.
Okay. Well,
I like to just enjoy the other decorations. I tell the children.
Is there a Grinch word for someone that doesn't like fall decorations?
Yeah, if you could lump all of them together, that would be me. No, I tell the children that if we decorated, it just takes away from our enjoyment of the other decorations.
Oh, well, it's quite the spin.
Yeah, it doesn't really work, but it gets me by. Anyway, not huge into it just because, well, I think my biggest thing with the pumpkins really comes to the fact that I've got the 5 kids.
Yeah.
And the tradition has always been that we'd go get the pumpkins, and that was always fun. And we'd talk about what they wanted carved on their pumpkins, which was always fun.
Yeah.
And then we'd actually get to the carving, and I'd put the little knives in their hands, and I'd see how they're monkey gripping them and how they're going. And all I could picture was like 5 trips to the ER for every round of pumpkin carving. So I'd get the knives back, and then I'd end up doing it all to their specifications. And it was always a lot of stress because it was never quite right.
I understand why maybe you're not into the pumpkin
thing. It
thing.
soured me, Haley, on the whole thing. But someday I'll get back into it.
I think you should try again.
Maybe with grandchildren. But let's not. That's just moving ahead too fast. For any of my children who are listening, that's not a request. We'll get there in due time. Anyway, let's move on quickly. Let's talk to the people who are grabbing and paying for those pumpkins and starting to decorate. Your big gripe that you started, the whole reason for this topic is that your pumpkins go bad while they're sitting out there.
They never last as long as I really want them to, because I always get them early in the season because it feels like, oh, fall is starting. I want to decorate and do all the things.
How
and
early
go to
is
the pumpkin
early?
patch.
Is that like right now? Okay.
Yeah. Because by the time it gets to Halloween or into November, which I never plan on having, I don't know. I guess I don't think about November until it's there. And then I'm thinking, oh, I want decorations still because Thanksgiving is coming up now.
Sure.
And the pumpkins are they're ugly at this point. Either they're eaten by squirrels or they're moldy or they're like, curling in on themselves.
Have you ever thought about styrofoam pumpkins?
No.
I mean, squirrels leave them alone.
Maybe on the inside, but I can't imagine putting them on the outside.
All right. Just a thought.
Personally.
Just a thought. So anyway, your pumpkins go bad. The squirrels get them. But the thing is, you found the silver bullet, apparently, that's going to solve all of these problems and allow your early fall pumpkins, your October purchase pumpkins, early October purchase, to last possibly through Thanksgiving.
Well, I don't know if I'm not going to get crazy, but it's going to make them last longer.
Okay. All right. So everything I just
making
said.
Any promises here?
Let's dial it back. Let's bring it all back. What do we need to do to get the most out of our pumpkins?
One of the ways that's most talked about is using bleach, right? It's going to kill all the bacteria and fungus that promotes all that mold growth and
Works on my toes.
decomposition.
I can't only imagine what it's going to do for pumpkins.
Let's move on. So what you'd want to do essentially, whether you've got a carved pumpkin or an uncarved pumpkin, is create a solution of bleach and water. You only need about a teaspoon of bleach per quart of water. And either you're soaking the pumpkin in that solution in a bucket, or you're spraying it down and scrubbing the pumpkin and wiping it dry. So whatever.
You have to use something with soft bristles, because I don't want to mar my pumpkin's beautiful surface.
So specific.
I do like to be specific,
use
Haley.
your best judgment.
Okay. I'm fun to work with, aren't I?
Yes.
Yeah. See? I've got a lot of questions. All right, so we'll use our best judgment on the brushes. I'm going to recommend something.
Like, don't use a wire brush, right?
Right,
We're not talking about
No, like rub a child's face, and if the child doesn't recoil, that's probably soft enough for your pumpkin.
Right, yeah.
Right? Perfect.
Treat it like a kid.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll get our little bristle brush. We'll spray it down potentially with bleach, a bleach solution, and we'll do that in a safe bleach area.
Environment.
Right.
Yeah. Like maybe
Not
you're
the
doing
living
it
room.
in the sink or outside.
Oh, outside.
Wherever.
I strongly recommend outside. I've done a lot with bleach, and no matter how careful I think I am with the bleach,
it gets everywhere.
Oh, not everywhere, in very unique places, but I always find
Unique places.
I find
I'm
lots
not even gonna ask.
lots of bleached things, and then somebody in the house will say, "Well, it looks like Dad was bleaching stuff again." And yeah,
good.
it was.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take all of that outside. I don't even open the bleach inside anymore. So anyway, do what you've got to do. You know yourself, listener, but be safe. So you'll take it outside, you spray it down with this bleach solution, and then you're good. You just let it sit.
So ideally, you would keep doing this throughout the pumpkin's life.
Okay.
So like every other day or so, go back out, spray the pumpkin down with a little bit of water and bleach, and that'll just help keep the bacteria and fungus away, and it's going to hydrate the pumpkin, because one of the things that happens too is that they start losing their moisture and they shrivel up a bit, especially if it's a carved pumpkin, right? The faces get all distorted and weird.
Look like grandma.
Yeah. Little grandma pumpkins. It's cute. But yeah, spraying them down with water and that bleach solution is going to help a lot. The other thing that you can do for a carved pumpkin is actually put some Vaseline onto the carved areas, and potentially, you could coat the inside of it.
Coat the whole inside with Vaseline?
I mean, it's gonna
How
lock
flammable is
in.
Vaseline?
Well, that's the thing.
Sounds like gasoline. It's almost just like it, except one letter's different.
It's Vaseline. We're locking in the moisture, and you would not put a candle inside of that pumpkin. And honestly, any pumpkin that you're trying to make last longer, you shouldn't use a candle inside. Use one of those fake LED candles, just little battery-powered guys that go in, because with a candle, you're just cooking the inside and you're drawing all of that moisture out, which is what we're trying to prevent.
All right. So what about squirrels? Will that because you mentioned that was one of your big beefs.
Yep. Squirrels always get to my pumpkins.
The bleach wards them off? Or?
The bleach won't, but there's another alternate solution that you could use, and that's peppermint oil. That's also an antifungal, and it will repel the squirrels as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they don't like the smell
and
of peppermint.
Takes the place of the bleach?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could do both if you wanted to go crazy, but...
Well, I'm all about going crazy. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to go crazy while I do it.
You could just use the peppermint oil. I think some people like that as a natural alternative to the bleach. It smells a little better. You're not getting bleach on your clothes, and you're not potentially poisoning anything either.
Okay, all right. I like that. So coat the inside potentially with Vaseline. That's, again, for the hardcore fanatics.
It's a real step.
What about sealing it? I would think, what if you just seal the outside of it with some kind of spray, like a spray lacquer or a spray?
Yeah, or shellac or anything like that.
That would work?
Mm-hmm. That'll lock in the moisture as well.
Now, see, something else. I don't know that you had this idea or not, but what about just instead of carving a face on, what if I just paint it on?
Yeah.
Right?
I was considering this, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I've got a little sample half pint of black paint already. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking I could just paint a face on the pumpkin.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to last
forever.
way longer. So that is an option.
All right. So I can spray it down with a bleach solution that's carved or uncarved.
Same with the peppermint.
Same with the peppermint. All kinds of different ways. And you're not going to go out on a line, though, and tell us how much length of time we're going to get out of that.
Right, yeah.
5 extra weeks?
I'm not
4
a
extra
psychic.
weeks?
Yeah.
Not going to say. Not a psychic. All right. All right. It's just going to be better than had you not.
It depends on the weather and things like that, too, because I guess freezing temperatures also affect the life of a pumpkin.
See, this is why I don't have pumpkins. You know, I've got enough.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. I've got to keep the dog fed and the kids going. I don't really need a pumpkin on top of it all.
Well,
it's like a pet.
It's a temporary pet.
Yeah. I don't know if I can cope with the grief of the loss. Anyway, we'll put links in the show notes so you can get to the blog that Hailey
Yes.
found that kind of had a lot of this information. If you've got anything that you do that you think
Seems
has
to work.
really
Yeah.
made your pumpkin last longer than normal, and if you're willing to go out on a limb and give promises to all of our viewers or listeners about how long they're going to get out of their pumpkins, by all means, send those tips and tricks to us at radio@repcolite.com. And if they're great and amazing, we'll share them
Absolutely.
with the world. All right, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we'll be in the studio with Dean Veltman from Veltman Painting talking about decks. I don't have anything more to say. I think that's about it, right?
Yeah.
Talking
But
about decks.
Decks and expectations.
It will be amazing.
Yeah.
That's all just ahead. Stay tuned.